Tonight, we're going to speak about a call for value optimization. COVID-19, a call for value optimization. Very important indeed, actually, to speak about value optimization in the times where companies maybe are suffering. People are looking how to sustain their business with the least cost, with the providing or with keeping their best talent. So we all need to do more with less. And who better to speak about this topic than Ahmed Maged Ali? He's the founder of VE Expert. He's SAVE, which is the international organization for value engineering. And he's also PMP certified. Having said that, I would like to welcome you again, my dear friend. And I will keep the floor for you to continue introducing yourself. Welcome again.
Greetings, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Let me quickly introduce myself to you. I'm Ahmed Maged Ali, 15 years of experience in construction and value engineering studies, certified value specialist, CVS, which is the highest level of certification approved by SAVE International. And we will be talking about what is SAVE International and what is its certification system. PMP certified, delivered more than $2.6 billion capital cost saving in leading more than 50 value engineering studies on construction project worth more than 11.2 billion project total cost, including some vital and major projects in the Middle East, like the third expansion of the Prophet Mosque, expansion of Quba Mosque, Ru'al Medina infrastructure, and many other substantial studies. Saudi Aramco subject matter expert in value engineering, constructability, lesson learned, implementation, and planning for a startup, and the value engineering approved team leader for Ministry of Finance, Saudi Ministry of Finance, Saudi Ministry of Defense, and many reputable governmental, semi-governmental, and private entities and organizations. So let's go and start our presentation. We will have an interesting agenda talking about the value engineering and the transformation of the acronym of VE into the era of COVID-19. We will start with a quick overview about value engineering and then introduction to the business value engineering, and then talking more about what are the business value engineering attributes, what are the benefits of having this business case, this business model, which is called business value engineering, what is the requirement that we should furnish for the business value engineering to take place, and then the conclusion. Why value engineering is the first question that comes to our mind when we start fresh mindset towards why shall I adopt the methodology of value engineering, and why shall I perform this study into my project or into my business case. The critical term in any business case, rather than it is a project, product, or it is a process, is the business value, because usually the designers have a different pattern of thinking rather than the value engineer or the value engineering methodology mindset is looking at things. So usually the designers are expected to provide, to show, to give more or less than that what is the product or the solution features actually and exactly works. The balance between the outputs and inputs is going to be achieved through the right application of value engineering, because value engineering is a skilled surgery that could deal with the cost, the time, and the performance and the risk all together in a very simple equation of value. So clients with value engineering expected to be shown exactly what could help them to deliver their business goal at the optimum solution. And the optimum solution giving you the right and just the required output, the required functionality and performance with the minimal cost and resources allocation. And this is the mindset of value. And as I said, this is really different than the design process or the regular softwares and calculation that the designers are using to select options or to select systems, materials, features, etc. What is SAVE International and what is the international methodology of value engineering? SAVE doesn't mean save. SAVE is just an acronym for Society of American Value Engineers. And then they have international besides the name SAVE. So it becomes SAVE International, which is the sole and the premier international society devoted to value engineering, or what they call it value methodology, or what others call value analysis, all over the world. So you have only one international or one even organization devoted to promote the knowledge of value engineering all over the world, which is called SAVE International, Society of American Value Engineers, but international, and it has an affiliates and chapters related to SAVE all over the world, which is going to unify the certification system and the international methodology of application all over the world, which is something that is pretty professional. Right? SAVE offers a certification system which is globally recognized and internationally acknowledged. This system is this system encompasses two levels of certifications. The first level is the VMA, the Value Methodology Associate. VMA is an acronym for Value Methodology Associate. This VMA recognizes those individuals, those people, which should not be only engineers. It could be engineers, it could be any people who is dealing with processes, with quality, with manufacture, with finance, with marketing. So it recognizes those individuals who decided to become professional value engineers, who want to collaborate in a value engineering study, playing the role of value engineering team member, effectively and successfully participate in value engineering workshops, and could do it in a professional way and in a proper style. This designation, the VMA, is a recognition for those people, but who have not yet acquired the VMA, have not yet acquired all the experience, all the technical skills expected of a CVS. CVS is the highest and second and last level of certification that SAVE International offers. So SAVE International, again, it offers two levels of certification. One certification is VMA, which could be achieved after attending a certified value methodology fundamental basic course and passing the VMA international exam. That's it. Just you have two pretty simple steps to be certified as a VMA. Attend a certified value methodology fundamental course hosted or facilitated by a licensed instructor by SAVE International, and then pass the VMA International exam, and then you become a certified VMA from SAVE International. The highest level is the CVS, is a recognition to individuals who have the value engineering as their main career, as the core business of those individuals. So CVS is the upper limit of the certification, and it recognizes both the technical and expertise for persons who could lead a value engineering study, who could be later on a licensed instructor after passing a certain level of facilitation exercises, to be the licensed instructor to teach the value methodology, basic and advanced level of courses to all people who want to learn about the international methodology of value engineering. So let's start our first poll. Okay, so we have a poll over here. Type your answer. How many certification levels exist in the International Value Engineering Certification System developed by SAVE? And you have 20 minutes to go. Sorry, 20 seconds. I'm sorry. Okay, that's interesting. Almost all of us have answered in the right way. We have just 2 levels of certification system, VMA and CVS, and that's it. VMA and CVS. There is a little bit a gap between VMA and CVS, but this is the only 2 level of certification that we have developed by SAVE International, which is, as I said, the sole and premier society devoted to value engineering. If you want to be a certified in value engineering, you have nowhere to go rather than SAVE International certification system. Okay. So let's go ahead, talk again about a good journey or experience that I had with SAVE International first virtual summit 2020. They have collected papers from all over the world. I think more than 2,000 presenters or value engineering thinkers have submitted their thesis, their presentation about a new theme that could develop and adopt the value engineering as a knowledge and could benefit others who are practitioners to the value methodology. And I was one of the 50, among one of the 50 selected presenters to present their new theme about value engineering. And I was presenting a subject called realigning scope of work of the dedicated and complicated programs using the international value methodology. And I think it was also an interesting topic, and we have learned a lot through this first virtual summit for SAVE International from all the presenters. It was a 3 days, 1-track summit consisting of plenary educational block, and it was very interesting and very professional as well. This is what we could discuss about SAVE International. So now you have the background about what is SAVE International, what is value engineering, and its point of view at the business value. So let's talk more about something that is really near to our environment. We're talking about more localized regulations that is adopting the value methodology. This is Abu Dhabi Municipality Value Engineering Guidelines, which has been issued recently in the end of 2019, and it has stated here the qualifications of the value engineering team that will be participating or leading the value engineering exercises for Abu Dhabi municipality projects. As you see here in the highlighted text, the value engineering team leader is required to be a SAFE International certified AVS. No more, there's nothing called AVS right now. It has been already suspended and VMA took place. So you read it only as a VMA, this sentence. Value engineering team leader is required to be a SAFE International certified VMA as a team leader and have completed the minimum of 3 VE studies. This is a very important point that requires you to be a VMA certified to could add to your skills, add to your pocket another expertise or another point and key of knowledge that you can perform and do a value engineering in a professional and international way. Looking for the importance of value engineering here, this guidelines has requested that value engineering is to be conducted what time at the concept design level for projects less than 10 million, and 2 times if the project estimated cost is between 10 and 120 million dirham. 2 times, one at the conceptual level and one at the preliminary level of design. If the project exceeds 120 millions of project estimated cost, it is required to have 3 value engineering throughout the design process, one at the conceptual, one at the preliminary, and one at the, not a final, it's almost a pre-final stage of the design. What we can conclude from this slide is 2 things. The first thing is value engineering is a pre-planned exercise. You need to have a plan when you shall perform or conduct the value methodology and the value engineering workshops, and you need to know how many times you need to perform the study. Is it only 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? It depends on the budget, and it depends on other things like the sensitivity of the project, the importance of the project, the strategic point of view, the limitation of resources that you have as an organization or as a private section. And this is the first point. It's a schedule, it's a pre-planned, it's a value engineering is not something that is just a reaction to a budget overrun. No, even if you are still on budget, you need a value engineering. You need to make sure that every $1 spent in this project is going to give you a value, is going to give you the right performance and the output that you want to invest in it, okay, even if you are on budget. The second point is you can feel here the importance of value engineering. In the project with more than 120 millions, it's going to be conducted 3 times through the design process. Then here, we gonna ask ourselves what is the expected major change in the client's needs, in the client's attitude post-COVID-19. And the answer is going easily to come to our minds that it is the cost saving. It is the ultimate change that you expect the client to talk about in the first meeting, in the early first meeting just after COVID-19, due to the delays and due to the budget limitations, due to the fund issues and the restrictions that happened with the pandemic. And this is one of the challenges which might be addressed in a very poor way using the cost-cutting exercises. Cost-cutting is not an attractive term because it's going to ruin the value. It's going to destroy the performance of the project. It's not a well-organized exercise that you can rely on to do the skilled surgery, which I talked about previously, that is be done in value engineering. So the value engineering is the engineered substitute rather than the cost cutting. And this is need more elaboration. Let us look here and have a look about the comparison between value engineering and cost cutting. Value engineering seeks to maintain or improve required performance while reducing the total cost. So you have an indicator here called the performance, the required performance. Your performance here could or must be maintained. And we believe always that the performance is a limit. Okay, you have here a lower limit and an upper limit of quality for each performance attribute. If you gonna have an option or alternative that is still in between the upper and the lower limit, so you are in the safe zone and you can reduce the total cost without feeling hard that it is a cost reduction, or with more convenience that you are really removing the waste, eliminating the gold-plated items, and you still maintain the requirement. Going above this upper limit is a matter of waste, is a sort of gold plating or nothing to do system that has nothing to do, materials that you don't need it in this space, in this functional requirement. And the same, going lower than this limit is a poor value. So we can call this a poor value, and the same we can call the selections or the alternatives that is going above the upper limit of quality also poor value. So the first thing we do here is that we maintain or improve the required performance while reducing the total cost. This kind of balance is done only through the value methodology. The value methodology provides you the plan, the technique, the know-how to do this, to maintain or improve the performance when you're trimming the cost. You are not trimming a cost in a random way in value engineering, like in cost reduction or in cost cutting. In cost reduction, it seeks to cut just initial cost, often at the expense of the project quality in many performance attributes. Okay, this is the first, this is the first difference. The second one is value engineering, as we said, is a pre-planned allocation of time and effort. Pre-planned allocation of time and effort. Before starting the design, the designer, the stakeholder, the client, and even the value engineering consultant, if it is engaged early in the project, he should know who, when, and how, and who will be participated and involved in the value engineering study that is going to take place at a certain level of the design progression. Cost reduction is usually just a reaction to budget overrun. So that's mean, and sometimes you will not go for value if you don't have a problem. So if you don't have a problem with budget or with cost, you are not going to do anything with value. But here in value engineering, even you are good with budget, you need to make sure to validate that you have the proper value. Value engineering is a highly structured process using a formal methodology, steps, step by step. The input of the first step is, the output of the first step is the input for the second, and then the input of the second is the output of the second is the input for the third, and it's going this way. It's a very systematic and structured job plan of doing value engineering. Cost reduction is just an informal process. Cost reduction generally involves only a few management personnel who is going to deal with the project and take just quick decisions that, as I said, may have a negative impact on the project outputs and the deliverables. However, in value engineering, it utilizes an objective multidisciplinary team with a fresh eyes team to deal with the project and a trained team leader or facilitator. Value engineering provides you an organized follow-up, implementation, and reporting program. Cost reduction is just a minutes of meeting. Okay. So this is the difference between value engineering and cost reduction. Moving forward here, talking about the value engineering in the considering the value engineering exercise on the project, and how can the governmental entities, organizations, and even developers consider going through a value engineering exercise on their project. This actually recalls the same times when the value engineering was originally generated or originally innovated by Larry Miles, who is in this picture. Larry Miles has invented the concept of value engineering at the World War II because of material shortage at the World War II and the stoppage of providing the raw materials from the Far East. He started looking for a process to manage, to plan the matter of the economical decisions and looking for the alternatives in a way that have a framework and a job plan that manage the value, not just having the function with a poor performance. And post COVID-19, we might have almost the same situation. There is a lack of resources, there is an issue with shortage, which we need to deal with. That's why we said the value engineering is a magic key to deal with projects post COVID-19, because the project that could convince the decision maker or the entity that will fund the project that it has the right value and it has the correct return on investment will survive, will continue, and will have the lead. But this still need a fine tuning to the value engineering job plan itself to fit and to deal with the pandemic challenge, as we will see now. Most audience would agree that in times like now, as we said, value engineering or the value mindset is even more important. And that's why just after COVID-19, various governments have put out more calls for value engineering, for value optimization, for agile thinking, to make sure they have some sort of innovative solution, to have a sort of speculation over their several projects and the product to give the final deliverable dealing with the current shortage. Then let's talk about the business value engineering little bit in a way that show us the difference between the business value engineering and the traditional way of conducting value engineering. Before going into this detail, let's have also another quick poll. Okay, let's start here. Why do you think that business value engineering is expected to play a vital role in COVID-19 era? Why? Reflecting what we talked about. Is it because business value engineering facilitates the decision-making process? Is it because business value engineering is more focused on the business change? Is it because business value engineering is a cost reduction oriented? Is it because business value engineering enables the scoping or phasing of the subject study? Let's start answering. You have 20 seconds. Okay. The good thing that we don't have many answers that say option C, because option C is not valid. Business value engineering is not a cost reduction. We have shown a slide that shows clearly the difference between the business value engineering or the mindset of value engineering and the cost reduction. So business value engineering is not cost reduction oriented, okay? But the good and the right proper answer is that business value engineering is more focused on the business change. Business value engineering, it's more focused on the change at the high level, okay? So it's more focused on the business change, and this will help the business cases to survive after the era of the COVID-19. As I said, the project that will demonstrate higher value will survive and will continue. And then let's back to our slides talking about the value engineering exercise and the transformation of value engineering exercise from its traditional way to business value engineering way. This should be completely an opportunity to rethink the process, not to rethink the methodology. The methodology has been innovated in the time of a pandemic or in a time of a challenge. And then we think that it fits that challenge. The methodology is okay, but the know-how, the process itself, that requires little bit some changes to fit our needs. Let's see. Since the COVID-19 lockdown and social distancing come into operation, we have starting doing the balance between the value and the price and exploring more ideas to adjust ourselves, to adjust how to pilot the business value engineering itself before starting validating the projects. We need to validate the process itself. So to deliver the updated service post the lockdown period, we have start with looking into the process itself. We believe that the focus with more stress on the business change rather than before. So we need to look at the overall business value from another point of view that match with the COVID-19 challenge. So instead of talking about just a cost optimization in the initial cost or in the capital cost, we need to see how we're gonna change the business case as a whole, how we can collaborate to move a project from a status to another status, from its current state to the future state that it might be in the future, meeting any or facing any challenges that might occur throughout the project. So the benefits of the value engineering here need to be a little bit different, and you need to have something that is really focused on the business case rather than focusing on the material change and changing a sort of a material, ceramic to porcelain and marble to ceramic. This is not the value engineering proposals that will help a business case to survive post-COVID-19. So what we shall do? We shall give more focus on the revenue. We need to explore more ideas through the value engineering on how to growing the revenue. So you have, for example, a commercial project, a retail project. Instead of going into the design and the know-how of the construction details, looking at the whole picture, you need to think how you can grow the revenue. So we need to look at some alternatives, some recommendations, some ideas that is going to change the business case to another business case, growing more revenue, generating more leads. And this is where the business value engineering is going to have the transformation from the traditional value engineering to the business value engineering after COVID-19 by focusing on alternatives and ideas that is growing revenue. and optimizing the resources. Optimizing the resources here is not a cost cutting, as we said. It's something that is really different than the cost cutting, but it's similar to what you have in the classical value engineering. So business value engineering, along with the classical value engineering, has one of common goal, which is optimizing the resources. What we shall adopt in the business value engineering post COVID-19 is growing revenue and mitigating risk. Growing revenue and mitigating risk. And I can see a lot of theses and a lot of more concepts that is talking about the integration of value engineering with risk management nowadays, because the project is expected to face a lot of changes, a lot of challenges to reach out its deliverables and to survive throughout the lifespan, especially after the COVID-19. So if you have any problem, you need to have a solid business case from the early start. That's why, again, that the business value engineering or any value engineering, even the classical one, is just a pre-planned, should be a pre-planned exercise. It should focus on optimizing the resources. I agree with that. But the classical value engineering that was only looking at the resource optimization along with improving the performance is not enough to deal with the pandemic challenge. You need to add those two options: growing the revenue, mitigating the risk. If you can do this change, this critical change, to move a project from a situation that is have a certain level of revenue and a certain inputs of resource allocation and a certain level of risk to another level while growing the revenue, optimizing the resources, mitigating the risk, I think you have shifted this project into the comfort zone. So let's have also a quick pull again before we move forward. Okay. The last one that we have for today. Let's start. What are the two main benefits that distinguish the outputs of business value engineering from the traditional value engineering? What are the two main benefits that distinguish the business value engineering from the traditional value engineering? Start, please. Is it mitigating risk and optimizing life cycle cost? Option number one. Is it optimizing initial cost and running cost? Is it generating revenue and mitigating risk? Is it enhancing performance and generating revenue? That's very nice. I can see a lot of correct answers with the answer number C, which is generating revenue and mitigating risk. We said that optimizing the cost, however, it's initial cost, running cost, or optimizing life cycle cost is already there in the traditional way of doing value engineering. But what distinguishes the way of the business value engineering or doing the business after COVID-19, post-COVID-19, is optimizing, is generating or growing the revenue and mitigating the risk. So let's talk about the conclusion that we have, the benefits of business value engineering, of adopting the three concepts of business value engineering as a benefits, is going to help you have a very simple decision process. If you can adopt those three principles and can offer alternatives that are based on this terms of business value engineering rather than the classical one, you did a great favor and you can help the decision maker take the right decision that is going to give and provide him really the optimum value that fits him post COVID-19. This is what we have for today, and transforming the traditional case of value engineering into the business value engineering to deal with the pandemic challenge post COVID-19. Thank you, Dr. Saadi. Thank you, everyone, and hope you had an interesting time.
Thank you, Ahmed. I enjoyed it. There are some interesting opinions out there, and I'd like to make a discussion. I invited one of the attendees. Her name is Thera, and I think she's online with us. Can you use your video and audio, Thera, please? We're going to have a small discussion, then I will take the other questions as well. Meanwhile, I'd like to invite you next week. Next week, we are supposed to have my friend Rania Khawaja from Jordan. And we made a change. Her topic will be delayed for a month. So instead, I'm going to, she will be speaking with us in a month or so. Instead, I'm speaking about a topic called Now What? Our strategy implementation failed again. So, which I played the video before. So having said that, let us start our discussion. We're gonna start with, hi, Thera.
Hi.
Your sound is weak.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I'm not sure what to do with that.
Yes, okay. So can you introduce yourself, Thera, please?
Yes, I'm Thera de Kramer. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm professional value manager and also Scrum Master, Lean Coach, and Contract Manager. That's what I do. I already do value management for 10 years. I did more than 50 projects.
Okay, interesting. Now, we worked, Ahmed and I, together on several projects with respect to value engineering, specifically in Saudi. He's one of the Aramco certified value engineering experts and trainers. Now, in the discussion, before I start the questions, you mentioned several notes, okay? And I would like you to have this dialogue directly with Ahmed, okay, about the couple of points you raised. Then we'll take the other points, okay?
Hi, Thera.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Well, one of the questions was in the chat was the difference between value engineering and systems engineering. And I tried to explain it using the chat, but maybe Ahmed would like to explain it too.
Between value engineering and, sorry?
Systems engineering.
System engineering.
Yes.
Okay. The difference, I think, is in the mindset itself. Value engineering is looking into the equation of value, into the balance between the outputs of performance, operation, and maintenance cost against the initial cost that you are going to pay today. So it's a sort of comparison between the inputs that you have to pay, a matter of cost, initial cost and time, and the outputs that you should have at the end of the day, at the end of the project, in matter of performance, deliverables as product deliverable, and also as an operation and maintenance, which considered one of the negative deliverables, a negative output that you need to pay for, but it's an output because it's a result to the input that you invested today in the capital cost and in the time. However, system engineering is looking into the system itself. It's looking into the different systems from the engineering point of view, not from the value point of view. It's a matter of difference between the operational way of doing things, not the functional requirement of doing things. I hope it helps, sir.
Yeah. What you have in systems engineering is, of course, also the functional analysis, but that's literally system-based.
Sure, yeah.
I have here a glass. Okay, it's empty because I wanted to have some tea. If you're a systems engineer, you would look at this glass and see this as a system and think about, what does this glass have to do? Well, it has to keep the tea warm, and you have to be able to hold it and drink it, so it has to be nice and good.
Okay.
If you look at this from a value engineering perspective, why would I need a glass of tea? Well, to feel comfortable, to have my hands free from water, to use a mouse and all the other gadgets I got here. That's why I need a glass of tea, just to keep myself comfortable, to make sure that I don't dehydrate and that I don't lose too much fluid. That's a very different perspective of looking at exactly the same solution. Systems engineering is still with the glass, and value engineering is looking to me as a customer. What do I need? Why do I choose this solution? And what other solutions can I have? The cheapest way, of course, is having water in my hands, but then I have wet hands. But I also could use a bag, for instance, with a straw and then drink out of that. I still have dry hands and I don't have glass. That's practically the difference between systems engineering and value engineering.
Yeah,
but it's
very
exactly
good practical example. Yeah, it's the same concept, but you did it in a practical way. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. There was another note about, I'm just looking for it. Somebody asked about value engineering team. Would it be part of the PMO? Or
would it be a separate
part of the project team, separate team?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So Ahmed, what do you think?
Could you repeat? I'm sorry.
Okay. Somebody asked about the value engineering team.
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be part of the PMO? Would it be part of the project team, or a separate team?
Okay. Value engineering team should be a fresh eyes team to the project. It shouldn't be a part of the project. They should not be the design team who have developed the project, who were really involved with every piece of the project step by step. Value engineering need a value engineering team leader who is a practitioner, who has the right experience and expertise to lead a process, a value engineering process, while maintaining a successful output at the end. And it requires, which constitute a successful value methodology study, a VE team of fresh eyes engineers who didn't even get involved in the design process, but who is also trained in the value methodology and know where is the catch and how they can add value to the project.
Okay, so Thama, Ahmed is focusing that the team should be separate. Yes. Okay, yeah. Because they are, you know, when you see something too much, okay, after some time, maybe something is obvious, but you cannot spot it. Yeah. Whereas a pair of new eyes might see something so simple, so important, but the people who did it cannot see it. Yes. You have an opinion that it can be the project team as well?
Yeah, it can be the project team, but it does have to be very then early in the project phase. So the project team is not yet fully understanding what the project is about and what the client wants. They just started working on the project. Then you still have that fresh face of the project team and a fresh view on the stuff that you're talking about. And then it can be the project team. Otherwise, you can also have the project team, but you need to have external experts that have that fresh mindset and fresh view on the project. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You don't get the output that you need without that fresh opinion and a fresh view on the project. So it can be the project team, but it has to be in an early phase. The project team still has to have that fresh look on it. They shouldn't be in that funnel from going everywhere. Otherwise, once they're in that, it's very difficult getting them out of there.
Okay. Let's agree, sir, upon one thing. The way that PE team is looking at the project is really different than the way the design team or the project team is looking into the project. The value engineers should have another pattern of thinking, building on the value methodology. That's why they can reach another destination. Maybe you are right when we talk about manufacture, but if we talk about construction, dealing with the conceptual phase is very sensitive. And if you want to perform a value engineering study and have a successful output in construction, you need to make it or to perform it as early as possible to have the flexibility and avoid any resistance to change by all parts who have produced a lot of work, and a mass production of drawings and man hours has been already taken place. So having the value engineering in manufacturing at the very conceptual point of time may help, but I think in construction as a type of typical process, you still, even at the conceptual time of project, you still need fresh eyes. You still need value engineering to be has a total freedom to be out of the box, so that they can bring you an innovative solutions.
Yeah, that's right. They need to be able to get out of the box, so it shouldn't be fixed. But if that project team is just starting, they don't know yet what the client wants, you still have that fresh look and you have that way to get out of the box. And then that can be, the project team can then be the value engineering team. But it's not always the right decision to do that. Otherwise, you have, as a facilitator, you have a lot of trouble if everyone is going in one direction and spend a lot of hours and you start doing VE, you have a lot of trouble because you will get new solutions and you will have a lot of work that's been done that needs to be changed, and you don't want that. So you do it in an early stage before all that work has been done.
Yes, I agree. Also, having some fresh eyes will help to abide any conflict of interest between the project team and the value engineering team as well.
Yes. Yeah, you need extra.
Therma, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, it is a pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. So we're gonna take other questions now. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So I have multiple questions from Eduardo Fernandini. He's saying, I've seen recently that SAFE presents a VM guide body of knowledge. What other books do you recommend to VMAs?
Yes, this is a really good question. Value Methodology Guide is a very recent guide that has been published by SAFE International maybe 2 days ago. So still I didn't have the opportunity to even purchase it or read it, but I had the opportunity to give some opinions and to share some ideas with my colleagues of value engineering experts who was really engaged and appointed to write this value methodology guide, and I think it's going to be a very good resource. Another resource, which is a really good resource, is the Value Methodology Fundamental Material course. The Value Methodology Fundamental course, which is the course that makes you eligible for VMA certification, is a unified material that is issued by SAFE International and distributed to all licensed trainers for their use through the Value Methodology certified trainings. The good thing that SAFE International every 3 months is updating this material and doing a certain of removing the off the shelf knowledge and adding more recent and more updated materials and knowledges to the material itself. So also VMF1 is a very good and always updated material for reading in addition to the Value Methodology Guide. There is another book also called Function Analysis Guide, which you could purchase it from SAFE International portal. Is a very good book about function analysis.
Okay. Perhaps you can share them in the chat box in a while, so that, that anybody can can look at them. Now, I have another question. Okay, I have my own question.
Please.
When you talk about value engineering, you know, in strategy, we have management of value. Okay, and it's a different thing than we say value engineering on a project. Now, what is the relationship between value engineering on a project and managing the value for the whole organization? From my modest opinion, if you enhance the value and the optimization of each component within the organization, like projects and operations, the overall should be better. Okay, but this is only my opinion. I'm not the SAVE expert.
Okay, thank you. Very good question. Having the value mindset all over the organization and the processes is a sort of project management planning. You can say that Agile, Scrum, all of these things is already based on the value mindset. It's a way of managing the whole organization, or at the project or the program level. It's how you're gonna manage the project or the program. Value engineering is something else. Value engineering is a practical application that is looking into the selected systems, the selected materials and features that the designer have selected for the design itself, and looking for more alternative ways to get the optimum value using the function by cost equation. So there is one broad mindset that it's all depending on value, but performing the value mindset in value engineering is a practitioner way dealing with the design itself. But having the value mindset in the Agile, in the Scrum, is how to use the value in managing the processes in the whole framework.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm seeing very interesting questions, so I'm going them one through one. From Munir Jude, due to pandemic, many clients have asked contractors to revalue their projects.
Yeah.
So how we can deal with such unscheduled value engineering if the progress reached to like more than 50% of project execution?
Yes, this is also a very good and practical, substantial question. We have something in value engineering which we call it the value engineering proposal change, VECB. VECB is a value engineering change proposal. Value engineering change proposal is the way that the contractor can get claims or can get extension of time or can add value to the project itself through the construction phase. And there is a clause in the FedEx contracts that deals with the relationship between contractors and the client in case of business value engineering, in case of value engineering change proposal. So let's agree that having value engineering very late in time after construction is not give you the benefit that you get it from having value engineering at the early conceptual design process. This is number one. Number two, it's late, but it's never late, as they said. So if there is a challenge, if you cannot proceed with the current budget, you need to do something that respect the performance, the output, and it's an engineering solution. It's not just like a cost reduction. So here's a value engineering change proposal is your way to go.
Okay. Then we have another question from our friend Ahmed Mukhtar. Okay, Ahmed is going to speak in the next batch about P3O. Very interesting topic indeed.
Yes.
He's saying, since the SAVE methodology is not the only methodology, is there any comparison with the standard of the UK RICS Value Management and Value Engineering First Edition, January 2017?
Okay, SAVE International or SAVE methodology is the international methodology dealing with value engineering all over the world. You cannot, even me, I didn't see till now any international methodology or any recognized and acknowledged methodology of doing value engineering rather than SAVE International methodology. However, dealing with value is for all. As I said, Agile is dealing with value, Scrum is dealing with value, Rex is dealing with value, but not the way that value engineering is going to do. It's, again, as you said, and as I address your question, Dr. Saadi, it's a way of looking at the value from the whole thing, not from the practical point of view of conducting a value engineering study and an economical alternative selection on a project itself.
Okay. From Nabil Farhat Talib. Welcome, Nabil. Don't you think that the value of engineering should be based on the study and the concept of value and performance?
I didn't get the question too much, but I think that
he's talking about value engineering should be based on value and performance.
Yes, this is the right way. Value of the function, value of any function equals performance by cost. So the base of value engineering is dealing with performance as an output and life cycle cost in the bottom of the equation. So this is the concept of value. So it is there.
So when you talk about life cycle cost, this ties to operation, meaning perhaps because you said the most important thing is not cost reduction, okay?
Sure.
Maybe the cost is not reduced, but the total cost of ownership is reduced.
Sure.
Which means value engineering, the value of value engineering is not merely for a single project, but rather for the owner or for the performing organization. They might get the benefit not out of the direct outputs or outcomes from the outputs of the project, but rather from the outcomes of operations when they utilize the benefit of this project. What do you think?
Sure, it's a very good observation. Sometimes we generate some alternatives. We propose to our client some ideas that is going to add cost to the initial cost. However, when you explain and present to him the break-even analysis and when he can get back his money, you can discover that, for example, your increment or your investment in this idea is going to be back to you and break even after 5 years, for example, or after 2 years. So through the whole lifespan of the project, you are going to earn. So it's a matter of increasing the initial cost, but as you said, it's an optimization looking at the overall life cycle cost. And it's one of the concepts of adding value to the project.
Then we have from Abdullah al-Masri. He's saying, I think it's a tool to convince the client to proceed with the project.
No, it's not going into this way. I think value engineering is a matter of validation. As I said, it's a complementary process to the design process. Design is looking from the technical point of view, and it is expected to show more or less what is expected from the value perspective. So we are working with a designer from another pattern to reach together the optimum destination for the sake of the client and the business value of his project.
Okay. Then we have from Abdullah Akbinar from Turkey, our friend. Could you please advise the time frame required to get CVS certification? Okay, it's about the certification, this question.
Certification, okay. So let me clarify that your first step toward this CVS certification or toward this any SAFE International certification is being VMA certified. The time frame of being a VMA certified is to participate into a minimum 32 hours value methodology fundamental certified course. This 32 hours might be distributed over 1 week or over 2 weeks. It depends on the course itself and on the training plan. Okay, I always recommend to have it distributed over 2 weeks so that it comes in a like of value engineering light daily meals that you can recognize all the topics and you can be ready for the exam just after the course. Just after the course, you can take the exam. You can go to the Safe International certification and examination system. Register for the exam, book the exam, and pass the exam, and then you become certified as a VMA. So it's a matter of weeks, and this is something that is really good in a VMA certification, that you can earn a very recognized and internationally acknowledged certification in a very specialized domain that is really required, especially after post-COVID-19, in just a few weeks, which is also not a book knowledge, not an academic knowledge, it's a practitioner way of doing things. After VMA, you need to acquire many points, you need to participate in many value engineering workshops, and I cannot decide the time frame because it depends on your company, your role in your company, how the value engineering, the flow of value engineering in your market, in your country. So value engineering is totally varies from one to another. But this is the time frame of VMA, and then you start your way toward the CVS.
Now, having said that, I've seen a couple of questions. One of them is talking about what's the relationship between value engineering and the size of the project. Do we make it only on big or mega projects or any type of project? And I believe before you answer, the example you showed from Abu Dhabi government.
Abu Dhabi municipality, yes.
Municipality, sorry. It showed that they do it one time for a small size, for a medium twice, and for a larger one, above 120 million, they do it 3 times.
Yes.
So it seems the investment they put in terms of time and whatever extra cost for value engineering is directly proportional to probably the investment of the project. What do you think?
You did it. This is a great answer. It depends on the return on investment. If you want to invest in value engineering, the project should have the size that acquire value engineering. Here in Saudi Arabia, there is a mandate requirement to apply value engineering on any project that exceeds 20 million Saudi riyal. So it's almost, you can say it's a threshold of value engineering to start with projects over 20 million Saudi riyal or dirham. However, sometimes the client might have a very sensitive project, a strategic project, might have a concern with the time, not the cost. Not only the cost is your way to drive a value engineering. Sometimes I have a concern with time, I have a concern with performance, I have concerns with the sustainability, with any other performance attributes or metrics that will be solved through value engineering. So value engineering is your way to go whenever you have any challenge in your project. But as a matter of indication, we agree that the threshold is 20 million.
Okay. From Salahuddin Ben Tata, can we combine business value engineering with quality and process improvement in order to generate benefits at business level and process level?
Yes, it's going to be a very great module, and also I see many theses like Sarah, what Sarah was talking about, of integrating lean management with value engineering, integrating the quality deployment with value engineering, the quality management system with value engineering. All these endeavors is good. Maybe it's still the methodology, the unified way to conduct it in a proper style, but there are many endeavors that is going to have a good overview and a good output to have a value engineering combined with combined with quality, combined with risk management, combined with lean management, because value could encompass all of this umbrella.
Very interesting answer. Thank you. Now, there is a question which triggered another question from my own mind. Nabil, again, Talib, is asking, what is the relationship between engineering value or value engineering and customer satisfaction? And my question on top of that is there like a benchmark or a set of data or study that would tell us that, okay, I hired a certified value engineering expert and he did a job for me. How can I judge that whatever he offered in terms of service actually will provide me the right value according to others, to an international benchmark?
Yeah, got your question. However, it's a little bit complicated question, Dr. Saadi, because I think there is no international benchmarking that you can rely on the comparison between the service provider, even in design, not in value engineering. You don't have an international benchmarking that says that X against Y is the your right way, unless you try and learn and then you develop your learning curve. This is the way that you can know how to deal with value engineering. But what we can help here, if you are in the client position, you need to know about your output before hiring a specialist. So you need to learn about value engineering or about value methodology in a certified course. You need to know what value methodology, what a successful value methodology study should constitute, what are the steps of the value engineering job plan, what are the international methodology of value engineering, so that you can investigate and you can validate the output that you will get from value engineering service providers. Otherwise, you will start to rely on learning curve, and that's it.
Raed Rashdan was asking about when there is a program with several projects inside it, a set of projects client is handling, how often we look into value engineering of a specific project but see the effect on the whole program?
Yes, this is a very good question as well, because value engineering is looking at the high level. When you hire the value engineering consultant at the right time, he can help you to validate how your project is performing towards the program strategy and the program goals. But if you start with value engineering, for example, at the 90% of the project, it's become really hard to revalidate and to reassess the findings, and again back from a project at 90% to the conceptual level to realign the project towards the program goals. So if you want to do a value engineering that will help you towards achieving the program goals and will help you in this concept, you need to have a pre-planned time frame for value engineering to be conducted at 15% maximum to 30% of the design progression of each project. And you should have it almost in parallel for all projects at the same time interval as far as you could.
Now, before I ask the next question, I again had another question in my mind. You know, in portfolio management, we kill projects. We kill projects because we are adaptive, we are nimble, we are agile, we seek to enhance to enhance the value, and so we remove the bad apple, okay, so that we have a better whole. And how do you think value engineering, did you ever encounter a service or an activity whereby the end result of value engineering was to just stop the project?
Yes, it was not just to stop the project.
By the way, your camera is turned off for some time.
Yeah, I know. I tried to turn off and turn on the camera back, but I didn't see my photo. So I suppose you didn't see me also.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But by now you know how you look. Okay.
Okay. But the good thing that I'm still alive. I'm still here. Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So back to your question. Sometimes when you perform the value engineering on the project, you said it very clear to the client. There is no value of having your project. I had this case one time with one of the governmental entities when we look at the whole program and we find that he have many projects that could be combined into 2 or 3 programs, small programs, and will really satisfy all the functional requirement, and he will save a lot of operation and maintenance and replacement efforts. So sometimes the answer is no. And that's why we're looking into business value engineering, because the project that will face the pandemic challenge and survive and still surface and will have the fund and the support all over the way is a project that really has a real value that could be demonstrated to all the stakeholders. That's why we are looking at things now post the pandemic in a different perspective.
Nice answer. I like it. Now, Funda Ayaz is asking, what kind of empowerment have the value engineer? She's asking, is an assignment job description existing? Please, you can share this. So they're asking about the empowerment of the value engineer.
I got the question.
Yeah.
Value engineering is for all types of engineers. Rather than even you are a mechanical, you are a civil structure, whatever. It's for all types of engineers. And even if you are not an engineer, it's there for marketing people, for finance people, for any people who is dealing with a project, with a process, or with a product. Because many times we would like to involve non-engineered participants in our value engineering. If you want to get innovative solutions and out of the box, sometimes we need to get it from the end users, from the consumer, from the customers. So that's why you need to know first what is the mindset of value engineering so he can help you in the exercise. That's why we are trying to educate engineers and non-engineers to have a very good value engineering team composition for all our future value engineering workshops.
Interesting. Now, again, our dear friend Nawaf Al-Ahmadi, he's asking, do you think that having a second look value engineering session always helps? Always help.
Okay, good question. If you didn't try it at the first time, I didn't think that the return on investment is going to be that much or is going to worse for the second try. So rather than having a second trial, have a good pre-planning for the first trial and get it tried from the first time. Involve a value engineering consultant who is a certified and have an experience in this domain. Make sure you cross-check the CVs of the team members. They are also have the knowledge of value engineering. They are experts in their domains. Gives them the enough time and the right time for the pre-workshop to arrange everything, to review the whole project, to be prepared for the workshop, get the workshop done in a proper way and in a beautiful style, get all stakeholders and all parties involved into the workshop, allow enough time for the presentation phase and the post-workshop, and get it right from the first time.
Now, Nabil Hamid is asking, can we consider a brainstorming session at early conceptual design preparation phase as value engineering?
Very good question. Brainstorming is not value engineering. Value engineering have a very well-structured job plan, starting from data collection, information gathering phase, function analysis. Value engineering without functional analysis is not value engineering, because functional analysis is the core of value engineering. Then jumps to creativity phase, and then evaluation, development, presentation, and implementation. It's a full job plan of a very systematic and structured process that you cannot compare it to just a brainstorming session with double cup of tea. So another thing. Brainstorming might help generating ideas, but it's not the right way of doing things. Value methodology provides you with the windows, the operating system to do it right in a proper way.